Morning, Raptor Freak here, Alexiats. Saturday morning, the Raptors played the Miami Heat late last night in Summer League and beat them by 10, but they needed to beat them by 17 or more to get to the Summer League Finals. So it's kind of a fail. It's weird because we won, but we didn't really win. And the gleeful announce by the brother of Mike Greenberg, Jared Greenberg, and he's really a closet Miami fan. So he was rooting for the Heat. He was so gleeful about how he was talking about how this may be the time when both teams lost the game. Miami lost the game and the Raptors lost the game. This may be the first time in history that both teams lose the game. That guy was really annoying. I thought they were a good announce team for a while, and then all of a sudden they just started turning into jerks. And Sam Mitchell, I'm used to him being a jerk. Like when he's on American broadcasts compared to TSN or Canada and stuff like that. He does things differently when he's down there. He's a turncoat, basically. So yeah, they were annoying, and it was annoying that we lost the chance to go to the finals. Now, a lot of people are saying that we're done for Summer League, but we're not, y'all. We have one more game. We get to play it one more game. It's the third place game. It's at 4 o'clock on Sunday, and it's against the Milwaukee Bucks. So we are playing one more game, and it's the third place game. So we can play for third, y'all. Good morning, Tom Duke. Not quite enough for the championship game, but close. Our fifth game will be even better. Yeah, I hope that it'll be fun. I'm just glad that we have one more game. I think everybody was thinking that we were just done after yesterday, but no, you get one more game, regardless of whether you're in the championship game or not. You get seeded. And we just ended up we're playing the fourth place team, Milwaukee Bucks. So that'll be a good test. Milwaukee versus Toronto tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Is the time for that game, guys. Now, today we're doing the Share Love Club, Saturday Share Love Club for Yuta Watanabe. It's really evident that he will not be on the Raptors this season again, which is too bad because he's such a fun guy to have on the team. He's just been so inspirational and so many different kind of things about him that are just so likable. And it's too bad, but it is how it is. This is how the NBA is. You get to a certain point, you get tried out, you get developed for a while, you get different looks by different teams, you get different chances. And then sometimes things just work out to a certain point where the chances run out or something like that. And it may be that Yuta gets another shot at making the NBA in the next couple years still, kind of like what Aaron Baines is doing this summer, where he's been away for a little bit and now he's trying to reclaim his NBA career in Summer League right now, Aaron Baines. So we'll have to see how that all works out for Yuta. But right now he's focused more on his national team duties for Japan and winning games for them over there. And he has, like, they had a game recently against Kazakhstan where he was badass. He was the leading scorer and helped lead Team Japan to a victory. And that's probably the kind of qualifier that's going on here with Team Canada, except over there in Asia for the Olympics. So it's good that Yuta has them on a winning path still. And Yuta's having a great summer in some ways. He got engaged to TV presenter Kiko. And he's looking strong, like in the pictures I've seen of him. And, he's enjoying playing competitive basketball wherever he can play and stuff like that. But I was kind of surprised that he didn't end up trying to do Summer League for anybody. It may be that he's just getting to that age where it's just kind of like, he's 28. And it's kind of like, where would he go and who would he play for and what would he be trying to make right now as far as a player in the NBA? Tom Duke thinks Judah has great basketball genes. His parents were pros. He's the chosen one. That is literally his nickname in Japan. He is the chosen one. It's not like Eddie Murphy 80s movie The Golden Child. It's not like that. He literally has that nickname, and there's a lot of weight that goes on somebody's shoulders when they're preordained or nicknamed the chosen one. And it's true. I mean, like when we did the trivia this year, his parents, both of them played professional basketball, his mother and father, and so does his sister. His sister plays professional basketball. So they're a very tall family in Japan and they have basketball skills. So Yuta comes by it very naturally through his family business. and stuff like that. But we love Yuta. Like, listen, we want to say this for any fans of Yuta, any Japanese fans, any fans around the world that do see my video today. We want to tell you guys that we love Yuta Watanabe. He will always have a place in our heart in Toronto for playing for the Raptors, and that he can always return here and he'll have a hero's welcome. That the people of Toronto will open their arms up and say, Yuta, and we'll be so happy to honor him and celebrate him once again if he comes back to Toronto. That invite is open forever for the rest of his life. He's just made. He's good. He's just like the mafia. You're a made man now, Yuta Watanabe. You're a Raptors legend forever. There's other players like this that have come in and make a little stop and play for the Raptors for a little while, and we fall in love with them, and they become cult heroes, cult legends, people like Bismack Biyombo and stuff like that. So Yuta, you're in that group, man. You're made, and we love you, and we're gonna be sad that you're not gonna be on the team this year. I know that some of the guys that are on the team will be sad about that also. People like Scotty and people that loved playing alongside you and stuff like that. So Guardian Transit saying, do you think this Raptors will buy Svi out? Yeah, you know what? I think that because we haven't really seen him interacting with the team very much, like he wasn't like Malachi and the guys sitting at courtside at Summer League. We haven't even seen him on his social media acknowledging too much. Like he did exercise his player option. So that is a nod saying, well, I want my money. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the Raptors want him on the team. Like it's him kind of saying, well, I'd like to fulfill my last year of my contract with the Raptors and play, but that's not totally up to him. That it may be that Bobby Webster decides that spot is worth more giving it to somebody like Jeff Doughton this season. So we'll have to see. We'll have to monitor this. Now we need to be ready for either one. Like we need to be ready to have Svi on the team again, even if there's a lot of groans and a lot of Raptor fans are kind of like, why? Why? Well, I could tell you why maybe. It's partly because, once again, trust in Bobby Masai, they know what they're doing. And then second, Nick Nurse really loves Steve Mahalik. Like he is a big fan of his. Like at the beginning of the year last year, you could tell it was Nick Nurse that wanted the Raptors to acquire him and bring him in and let him work with him. Well, he turned into a big fail. Like at the beginning of the season, he showed some good skills that could have really helped us last season, but it just never really became a consistent part of our rotation. It just was failing too much when the little bits that would get out there. So I'm a big believer that they need to just buy him out and use the roster spot for somebody else this year. That in some ways, that year of development, that year of time, sitting on the bench, that year of being on the team is really valuable. And that it maybe needs to go to somebody who's younger and needs more of a tryout and chance themselves than him. I don't know if he necessarily needs this chance from us. That it may do Svi some real service to not play in the NBA for a couple years, go and play in Europe, play somewhere else, and get some more experience and more tenacity. And then maybe you can return to the NBA in like a year or two and show growth and maturity and more steadiness and consistency with his game. That's what I would do if I was him. That he may need to go play international play and get really feel good, because he could go there and he could be a top dog in a league. Like that's the kind of thing that these guys need to do sometimes, is go somewhere, be a big fish in a little pond and kick some ass and get that confidence going, and then come back to the NBA and show that new confidence off and stuff like that. So I'm hoping they do buy him out, and we'll see how it goes. Joseph Starks, good morning. Good to see you. I'm a little worried about OG because of the same reason. Has he been scarce? Have you heard anything about OG? Yeah, we're all a little worried about him, but I think that we should calm down on this. This is normal for OG. Like that, if he's not on the team, we don't hear from him on social media during the season. We don't see him tweeting. We don't see him on Instagram. We don't see him really posting anything. That he really is from the Kawhi school of social media, and he has accounts. And he does like people's stuff sometimes. Like you'll see him them signing a player or somebody having a good performance or something like that. But he's never really posting himself. Now, there's a couple of things involved with OG, and we've talked about this before. His connection to Clutch Sports and the way that he's managed by them and stuff. They may be a strategy to keep him on the down low. But I think this time of year is just like this for players, that they realize this is trade period. And this is like when DeMar got shipped to San Antonio, and that anything can happen. And that during this week, they all dial back, or during this time period, this month or so, they dial back their social medias and they kind of take their Raptor linkages off their social medias just in case they get burned. Like they don't want to wake up one morning and say, "Oh crap, I'm traded all of a sudden," and they have Raptors all over their stuff. So they have to be ready to like change all of a sudden. Like it's jarring, and I hate seeing it when I go see Fred VanVleet's Instagram page. I'm like, I want to see Toronto Raptors card Fred VanVleet on there, but they take it all off of there just in case for a little bit of time and stuff like that. With Ayton going the way he did in the last day or so, that Indiana and Ayton were awesome. That they signed him that offer sheet and they forced Phoenix's hand, and Phoenix matched it right away, which is insane to me. Like in some ways, you did not act like you wanted DeAndre Ayton since him and Monty Williams got in that little dust up at the end of their playoff series against Dallas, where he's like, "You gave up on us. You weren't even trying out there." Monty Williams is saying to DeAndre Ayton. Well, there's a fracture. There's still problems with that nucleus in Phoenix if DeAndre Ayton is on the hook and on contract and coming back. In fact, I was like, he has to move at this point because it seems like they're not. But Phoenix didn't want to miss out on losing their investment of time and developing into him for nothing. And that's basically what would have happened if they let him walk to Indiana was that they would have just lost all the work that they put into with DeAndre Ayton in his career so far, and it would have just walked out the door. So they had to match it in some ways to retain that investment. Now, it's not a good situation. In fact, this makes me want to raise them up on the dumpster fire ratings because this is not healthy. This is like, I don't know if Ayton and Monty are going to hash it out, figure out their differences. I don't know how teammates can trust DeAndre Ayton going forward. As far as like they feel like he let them down, it didn't play hard enough for them. So this is a real dumpster fire that's kind of developing in Phoenix on the down low that we need to monitor and watch out for. We got to see if they mend that fence because DeAndre Ayton can't be traded now until next calendar year. He's stuck with them at least for the first half of the season this year and stuff like that. So, wow. But I think because that Ayton trade piece is off the market and that Phoenix is not really a viable trade partner with the Nets in any kind of easy way at this point, or maybe even like an attractive one because their best piece to trade towards them is now not able to be involved. That, the Raptors are still the best person for them to trade, but they're not even anywhere close on meeting what they want. The Nets are crazy. Like the Nets want so much for Kevin Durant and they're crazy. And then everybody thinks we're crazy for not giving them whatever they want. Well, we're not going to do that. We're smart and it's so dumb. But this is what I'll say. With all this going the way it's gone, I think OG is going to be a Raptor next season. That we don't need to worry about this. That he's just in his offseason hibernation, away from the public, away from being in the spotlight, and just getting some time to himself. And I love that these guys get this, what they choose to have it. Otherwise, either they're like that, or they're like Scotty, who's in Montreal and he's posting pictures of him and his buddies having a good time in Montreal this weekend. And just you could tell it's cool for him to travel and see new cities he's never been to, and kind of just like enjoy them when he's not even playing. Like he just has time off and he can go do whatever he wants in that city. So hopefully Scotty's having a great time in Montreal this weekend with all of his buddies. He's got a whole crew over there with him. It's a lot of fun. All right, let's see. Nako the Nacho saying trades fee and Malachi for picks. I wish these guys had trade value. They really don't. Like these guys do not have any trade value whatsoever. I'm telling you, we could trade Malachi for something worthwhile right now. Like if we could trade Malachi and Svi to San Antonio for Jakob Poeltl right now, hey, I'd be all about that. But I don't think they have any value. I don't think they're very attractive to other teams at this point. That they did not show anything last season. So why would anybody want to trade anything for them? It's kind of a real catch-22 we're in with them in some ways. Let's see. G is saying that Scotty seems to be enjoying Montreal. Yeah, I've never been to Montreal myself. It's a real blind spot for me. I've been to Quebec. I've been around the Quebec and seen how it's French speaking and stuff like that, Quebec City, but I never made it all the way to Montreal. So, hey, go Scotty, go check out places I've never been to, and I'm sure it's very nice. And maybe someday I will make it to Montreal, but I just haven't. I don't know why. Tom Duke saying Phoenix didn't wait long to match that bag. Tucker signing might get Sixers in trouble. Yeah, Tom Duke with a couple of pow, two punch there. Yeah, they didn't wait at all. Like that really is dumb. Like I like what Sam Mitchell was saying last night in the broadcast about how if they were going to re-sign him anyway, why did they mess around with him and take so long like this? It's like go in there and sign him right away with a smile and make it like really nice and positive because the way Phoenix had to retain DeAndre Ayton was not healthy. It was not healthy, and I think there's still problems there. That this is weird. Like DeAndre Ayton hasn't really talked to the Phoenix Suns that much in offseason, I don't think. And yeah, this is going to be a real on the down low dumpster fire. DeAndre Ayton being in Phoenix this season could be a real dumpster fire. So we'll have to see how it all goes this season. And yeah, the Tucker signing with Philadelphia is getting investigated in a similar way to like the move with Kyle Lowry last year and Lonzo Ball. That Philadelphia may get penalized for doing things a little too quick, a little too early with the trade deadline when it was supposed to start and all this kind of stuff, the signing time and stuff. So that'll be interesting to see if the Sixers get in trouble. Maybe they lose a second round pick like the other teams did. Nako's saying Indiana with Ayton would be fantastic young core. It'd be a nice new look. It'd be a nice fresh start for him. I don't know if it would make Indiana too much better. I mean, they have had like a weird influx and outflux of talent, different kinds of talent. And it's really kind of hard to put a finger on who the Pacers are right now because they're really heavily young. And that some of their important guys are guys they just drafted, like Benedict Mathurian and Andrew Nebhard. So that it'll be interesting to see what Indiana's team looks like this year. I don't expect them to be much better than they were last year, and they should be a non-playoff team. But we'll have to see. If they'd gotten Ayton, maybe they would be a playoff team. But I don't think so. I don't think so this year. Nako's saying Malachi is defensive upside, so I wouldn't say no value, but little value. Yeah, he has very little value. It may be that if we're going to trade Malachi, it's for a deal for them to try and make sense to cut the books or do something like maybe he gets traded to some team and they waive him right away, and like that's just what they did, was some sort of weird housekeeping move or something like that. So G saying apparently Ayton wanted even more. That's why it played out this way. This showed his market worth. Hey, there you go. Sometimes that's how it has to happen that way. That the Suns didn't want to negotiate with him directly, so we can go ahead, let him negotiate with another team, and then because he's a restricted free agent, just go ahead and match it and have him come in. I think, like I said, I think this is going to be a real problem for Phoenix. This will be very interesting. Now, let me go over the game a bit, guys. We got a game from last night. I want to react to because there were a lot of interesting things about the game with the Miami Heat last night. That listen, the announcers. Let me just do the announcers real quick. I was liking the announce crew at first. Sam Mitchell is interesting to listen to when he's on the American broadcast, and but he has a lot of knowledge about the Raptors because he does cover them. So it's kind of interesting to hear how he calls the game with the Raptors involved, even though he's an American broadcast. And it is a different way. Like I know this is one of the way these guys do this is they want to overcompensate and show that they're not too much of a homer for the team that they used to coach. And that they'll overcompensate by putting the team down a little bit or doing different things like that. And he did do a little bit of that. And those guys were super annoying. Like out of all the summer league announce crews that we've had, I really like that one with JJ Redick. That was the best one we've had so far. And this one was going good. I was like, oh, this team may be pretty good tonight. They're giving a fair shake to the Raptors. But by the end of the game, I hated them. And once again, I'm like, yeah, Sam Mitchell's annoying. He's just an annoying dude. So yeah, they're not even. I think that they're about the same as the Steve Smith group that we had in the first game. And Brandon Hayward's group was just a little bit better. and stuff like that. But yeah, annoying, really annoying. But getting onto the game, like the Raptors had great defensive energy in the beginning of the game. Once again, they were a real problem, causing a lot of turnovers, doing a lot of great things. And once again, when Koloko's on the court, there's a whole different side to our defense than when he's not there. And then in the part where in the third quarter where the Heat started coming back and messing up our good cushion, we had that great maple syrup layer, Tom Duke, poured nice and thick, and we were winning and doing what we needed to do with the margin to get to the championship game by being over 20 points above them. But then, there was some point in the third quarter where we didn't have Koloko out there, and we had some lapses of offense where we just couldn't score, and they kept scoring, and that messed us up. Like you know what? Trevor Gleason is a great coach, but I haven't been totally impressed with how he's handled the summer league team. Like there's been moments in the middle of the games where we've lost control, or we just haven't looked good all of a sudden, and the other teams just started kicking our ass. And I don't like that. That like we needed a solid, good effort the whole game through to keep these guys out of there and get to the championship game. And that should have been more important. And I know this is not a normal thing for a team to play to a certain amount of a lead to win, to get to a thing. Like it's not a normal kind of thing in the NBA. And that we should have been more used to that. And that we should have been trying to score differently in the fourth quarter and trying to just build that cushion somehow. And a lot of that should have been on our defense. But when Koloko's in the game, he didn't statistically have a good game last night. In some ways, but in a lot of ways, he had a huge game yesterday because he's a real factor. Like just his presence on the defensive end is huge. Like I'm seeing it already, and this is going to happen in the regular NBA also. That this dude is going to be a game changer just because he's out there and he's looming, and that he is a real problem for players on the other team trying to score near a basket. This man is going to alter shots. This man's going to intimidate. This man's going to cause people to think twice before they even try and venture towards the hoop if he's in the game and he's around, because he doesn't even have to be guarding the person straight up and like facing his guy. It could be another guy they pass off to and dump. He turns around. He's so quick. He's on that guy and blocking him right away when he's trying to go up with the shot. So man, Koloko has been showing so much this summer league, and I'm impressed with all of it. Like I think this kid's going to be amazing. And the offensive stuff just needs to get cleaned up. Like he's showing that little baby hook, and it's kind of nice and cool to see. He doesn't hit it very often, but he can get that fixed and worked on with footwork and like techniques with Rico Hines and different people like that. And then, he's going to have so many dunks. His field goal percentage is going to be high. And, he's got good mechanics on the outside shot too. So we're going to really focus on his defensive stuff first, maybe limiting his fouls, trying to get better about playing good defense and not fouling. And then his offensive stuff may be stuff we see more and more over the years after. It's like the first year of the Raptors for Koloko should be really defensive and getting oriented with like playing good defense and solid, being good in that area. And then maybe we'll see him blossom more in offensive ways in the years to come. But I don't expect him to do a whole lot for us offensively, unless it's just easy pick the ball up and dunk it, or like easy like gimme shots or garbage shots. He shouldn't have plays called for him right now because he doesn't have like the polish to his offensive game that he needs to get plays called for him right now. But everything he gets should be garbage and like cleaning up, offensive rebound putbacks, maybe some open lobs. If he gets left open for lobs, they can throw the lob to him. But I don't want to see him get posted too much on purpose and trying to work against the defender to score on them, because I don't think that he's solid or consistent enough with that yet. And in those kind of ways. But I'm really excited. Everything about Koloko is really, really, really going to be good. I honestly, he's a game changer. He's the kind of player that will influence games just from his presence and stuff like that. So G saying the announce crew had no idea DJ Will and Ron were signed. Well, there's a couple of things with what was going on with the announce crew. They were Look, I thought it was funny that Sam Mitchell was saying, do you want to take a bet? We're in Vegas on whether the Raptors will cover that 18 points to win and get to the championship game. And Greenberg's like, I don't want to take that bet because I know I'm going to alienate half of our audience right now. If I pick the Miami Heat to cover, then the Raptor fans will be mad at me. If I pick the Raptors to do it, then the Heat fans will be mad at me. Well, even though you said that, you were still kind of showing your Miami giggles at the end of the game. Like the man was just a little too gleeful that the game landed where it did, and stuff like that. Like they were real morose when it did look like the Raptors were going to win and get that margin to be in the championship game. And then when they didn't, he was kind of celebrating a little too much and then failing to do that. And I wasn't happy with those guys. And once again, Sam Mitchell's a turncoat. He'll say stupid shit in the middle of the game that just pisses me off and stuff like that. All right, let's see. MK's here. Good to see MK. Delano's turnovers turn into easy, fast break points. He needs to fix that. Yeah, he had some pretty bad turnovers last night. There were a couple turnovers in general. Like the game last night was ugly. There were a lot of turnovers going both ways in different things, and dumb fouls in some places. But I really like the charges we took. DJ Wilson in particular took 2 charges that were fantastic. David Johnson took a charge also. Yeah, Banton. Let's look at his stat line. 6 of 13, 1 for 3 from 3-point range, 5 of 6 at the free throw line. I like that. 2 offensive rebounds, 6 rebounds altogether, 3 assists, 3 steals, and 6 turnovers, 18 points. He was a +8. The turnovers have been really bad for Delano this summer league. But a lot of that's high because he's high usage. He's been like the conduit to put the ball through on our offense. And that means he's just handling the ball a lot. And that, these are things that could be cleaned up. And the turnover numbers were a little bit disappointing. And he did cause easy baskets for Miami last night. That's for sure. But on the flip side, let's look at the stuff that Delano did really well yesterday. That he got a couple of open threes and he nailed them. Like his 3-point shot looks so much better this year than last year. It looks like he can really maybe possibly be counted on to hit that 3-pointer consistently if he's open. And I love that. That's a huge development for him. That if he's all of a sudden a decent 3-point shooter, and that the other teams need to worry about him hitting his 3, hey, that's all good. And then the other thing about Delano that he was doing last night that I really like was that he was measuring his footwork and measuring his offensive play. Like he would get these drives to the basket, and it's like he could have gone all out, but he might have gotten blocked or gotten stolen. But he was kind of like waiting and following with the defense around him, and then he lay it in and put it in. And he was really successful at finishing in traffic and really just making his footwork and timing right to finish through that traffic. There was a couple of plays like that. Him and Downton both were doing this kind of stuff. And then the other thing about Delano that I thought was really awesome and great to see was I saw some real synergy between him and Ron Harper Jr. last night. That there was that one pass where he whipped it up the floor real quick, and that was an easy basket for I think it was Ron Harper that whipped it up the floor real quick to Delano, and Delano laid it in. And then there was a similar play that was in reverse later on where Delano passed it to, or Delano shot it, and Ron Harper offensive rebound and put it back. But they were playing really well off each other, Ron Harper and Delano. And there was some really good passes that were hard passes to get through that they got through. And that I like that connection and that synergy that looked like it was developing between Ron Harper Jr. and Delano Banton. That was really nice to see and stuff like that. So, yeah, you know what? Delano has been a mixed bag this summer league. He's been really overwhelming, really, to me, more positive than negative. But the turnovers are huge, huge blight on his summer league record for this time. But once again, we have to say high usage, guy who's getting the ball go through him a lot, then that's going to happen. It's just the kind of thing when you're a main guy on a team. You're going to get a lot of turnovers sometimes because you got the ball a lot. So G's saying Delano's shooting is much better and getting better around the rim, but needs to work on that handle for sure. The turnovers were rough. Yeah, it's a combination of a lot of different things. It's not totally him like being careless with the ball. It's just that, I don't know. I'd have to look at it a little more closely and understand exactly why he lost the ball each time and like break down each turnover and stuff like that. But I thought overall Delano's really good, but still the best player in our summer league, other than Koloko and his unspoken kind of stuff, is Jeff Doughton Jr. And last night he had another really solid game. 4 for 9 from the field, 1 of 2 for 3, 7 of 5, 7 of 8 from the free throw line was great. 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, a block, just 1 turnover to 5 assists and 16 points. Jeff Doughton Jr. The other thing about what Doughton did was he hit a really clutch shot with the shot clock running out. He hit a shot like a three where he got hit and got a foul shot with it. He did a little bit of everything. He even did that kind of stuff where he went to the basket like Delano was doing and stretched and laid it out and laid it up over guys. I really like how all our guards were attacking the rim yesterday against Miami. That they didn't really have any big guy that was kind of a shot blocker, rim protector. That Delano, Armani, Jeff Doughton, they could all go to the basket and lay that basket in, and they were having real good success close to the basket. And I love some of the high hit the backboard high Armani shot bounces into the basket. Jeff Doughton, really good, like tough shots, like where he's stretching around and kind of trying to go around the defender and stuff like that, and still making it. So yeah, Jeff Doughton needs a spot on the Raptors this year. If we're going by like you're playing yourself into a spot, well, this dude's consistent, and not only that, he showed times last night in the game where it was high pressure situation on the court that he could do good things in those situations, not panic or fail as far as like not hitting the shot or turning the ball over in a high pressure situation. Like when the shot clock's running out or, we're in trouble. He seemed like really calm and steady, like every single game that he's played in the summer league so far. So, man, you guys need to figure out Jeff Doughton and get him in a Raptor jersey for the season. You just do it, Bobby. I don't care who you got to cut or who you got to move around. Just do it because this guy I have a feeling that he'll be able to do this kind of consistent, really good stuff on the main roster level to help us win games. That he's showing all the signs of having like really, ice cold blood in his veins. That he doesn't get shook by tough situations or pressure situations. He excels in them, and we need more of that on the Raptors roster because that was something we lacked on our bench. And if this dude has it in him, we need to get it and bottle it and keep it on the shelf for us to use in games this season. So, yeah, very interesting with that. Tom Duke is saying Koloko pours the syrup first, then puts the butter and the pancakes on top. Tom Duke is making a reference to the cereal milk situation this week. And I think that's hilarious. Like, why not pour a layer of syrup on the plate so that it'll hold the pancakes in place? So there's no shifting, there's no sliding. Maybe some of the butter got underneath the pancake, makes it a little slippery. You're moving the plate somewhere and all of a sudden the pancake's flying on the floor. No, this is smart. You put the syrup on the plate first and it sticks the pancake to the plate, and then you ain't got no slippery pancakes. So Christian Coloco's very intelligent for doing it this way. Yeah, I love that, Tom. That's hilarious. G saying Koloko needs to post up more. He's actually good at it. Yeah, I think so, but it's not. Listen, this is what I really want to happen. I think he should be the two-way player. I think that we should give Jeff Doughton a real contract and not do him two ways. I think we should put Koloko 2 ways because it's going to benefit him so much more if he has heavy 905 minutes down there. And the reason why is because he'll be playing more of this kind of level of competition like Summer League, and he can dominate and he can really hone his craft down there. Like if he's going to do a lot of low post, I'd much rather see him work on it down on the 905 level and get more success down there and dominate with it. That is exactly why we have the 905. So I really am leaning more and more towards Christian Koloko getting that second two-way contract and being with Ron Harper Jr., traveling between Mississauga and Toronto for the Raptors this season. That part of the reason why they had not signed Christian Koloko to his rookie deal is that they want to figure out if he's going to get that two-way or not. And in some ways, I think it makes the most sense because this dude needs to play time at 905 and dominate. Just like how I was talking about how Svi may need to go to Europe and dominate over there to make himself feel good. Well, maybe we need Christian Koloko to dominate on the 905 level and really, really get those steps, those baby steps into becoming more and more a regular big-time NBA player. You know, high school, college, summer league, training camp, 905, main roster. Build them up against different levels of competition, just slightly harder as you go up, and then not throw him directly in the fire of the NBA right away, because that could be bad for his development, his confidence. Is that he could come in and some of the big guys in the league may push him around or mess him up and kind of hurt his confidence. So I'd much rather him go be the big dog in the 905, kick ass and dominate there this year, and have little bit times with the Raptors and stuff like how that normally happens with two-way players. So yeah, he is good at it, and he has offensive skills. They're just really raw, and he's just got to, he's going to get good. He'll be a good offensive player eventually. It's just right now they're not. It's not all totally fundamentally sound, and they just need to fix it up and stuff like that. G saying when Delano dribbles from his left hand, he has a harder time, and some of his passes are telegraphed and low. But overall, I think his development is progressing well. Once he puts it together, he'll be great. Honestly, I see a leap with him from last year, and it's really a couple of intangibles. It's not only just the shot looks better from the outside, but his confidence is better in some ways. Like he doesn't look like a rookie anymore. He looks like a leader. He looks like somebody who's out there trying to help the team in major ways. See, that's even harder in some ways what Delano's done in Summer League is that he wasn't just an average player. He was a team leader. He was like Fred VanVleet for this Summer League team. And I thought he did a great job, like a great job overall and stuff like that. So we got to take a little bit of the bad with a lot of the good. And Delano Banton is really like progressing. He's developing. Let's just say that he is showing strides up in getting better as a player. Good morning, Kenny. Good to see you. Love Yuta. He loves Yuta. We love Yuta. Yuta, you will always have a home here in Toronto, and Raptor fans will always love you. Your career with the Raptors was such a weird time. Is you came in when we were in Tampa and we didn't even get to see you for a whole first year of you playing for us. And then last year you were here, and then we're still in and out of like capacity issues with the Scotiabank Arena. So you didn't get the full love, but you did at times. You got the full love from the Raptors full arena at times, and we did get to show you that love. You got that feeling, stuff like that. Whatever happens to Yuta Watanabe, I only want good things. I wish him the best. And, who knows? I hope he gets to the NBA again someday. But, yeah, focus on your country right now and win games for Team Japan and just be a badass. International play, Yuta. That's what we want, man. Let's see. G saying, you may have said it already, but how many spots are left? And, yes, we love Yuta. Okay. So the way Blake Murphy had it all set up and stuff like that on his Twitter, it's like basically we have 12 guys under contract right now. We get 20 guys going into training camp. So we got to sign Koloko on top of those guys. And then we got Ron Harper. So that's really 14. And then that means we have 6 spots. And then like that's DJ Wilson, Justin Champagnie, Armani Brooks, the guys who we've got to semi-guaranteed like deals. Those guys, we'll fill those guys out, and then we'll have to cut 3 of them still before the end of training camp. So we have 20 spots for going into training camp. We got to cut it down to 17 for the season. So it's that kind of thing. And now certain guys are for sure on the team. Certain guys are on the bubble and could possibly not be on the team, but are still under guaranteed money right now. So we'll have to see how it works out. We'll have to see how it all happens and stuff like that. Kenny saying Delano did well in the summer league. Aggressive drives the paint, and that shot stroke is smoother. Yeah, he even said it in his interview this week that he got his arc up. When he first came in last year, he was shooting it too horizontal and straight towards the basket. He needed to lift his arc up so he could come down and have an easier percentage to go through the hoop. And he's changed that. And that may be part of the reason why his outside shot looks way better. And I have to give him credit. He's shooting his free throws better. But there are still times where he steps up the free throw line. You can tell he's not fully concentrating. And he just kind of throws it up. And it's a garbage free throw. We had too many of those last night. Too many missed free throws in really dumb ways. Like Koloko missed 2 that were not very good. And then the guys on the bench, Armani and Kuritz, they both missed really bad free throws that they should have made, stuff like that. So let me go through the box score a little bit more. Like Koloko, 2 for 5, still didn't shoot that great for a big man. He took 1 3, missed. He 50% at the free throw line. I don't like that. Only 3 rebounds. That seems insane to me. That like he should have way more than 3 rebounds for what he was doing out there. And it looked like he got way more than 3 rebounds, but it says he only got 3 rebounds, 3 steals, 3 blocks, and 6 points. That's the stat that we keep seeing, is that he has 3 blocks every game. This man is going to average like 3 blocks a game. He's gotten 3 every single summer league game. But then also on the down low, look at that. He's got 3 steals. That is not the first time he's done that in summer league. He's had 3 steals, 3 blocks in a couple of these summer league games. So that's a cool thing, because that kind of shows that he's doing the regular center shot blocking, but he's also active in the passing lanes and scrambling for the ball around on the defensive end also, that he's getting steals. So Koloko is a defensive changer. He's a changer of defense in all kinds of different ways. And I'm so here for it. In fact, we maybe should have played him a huge chunk of the second half just to keep things held down and stopping Miami from surging up and hurting our chances to get in the championship final at Summer League and stuff like that. Like that was, man, I don't understand that. You needed Koloko out there to just keep them from getting easy baskets at certain points, because they were getting a lot of easy baskets and stuff like that. Let's see. Tom Duke's asking, what's the time frame for Penny's injury? I don't think that injury is that bad. And, listen, the training camp's not for another couple months. So it's like, this is the little island of action in the middle of the summer. So he's going to have like a month or two to get better completely for training camp. But he really needs to be healed and ready for training camp, because he's going to need to show something in training camp, because he is, like I said, nothing's guaranteed for him except for a little bit of money. That the spot and other things that go with being on an NBA team are not guaranteed completely. So it should be interesting to see what happens with those battles. Like DJ Wilson, let me look at him real quick. 24 minutes, 2 of 8. He missed both the threes he took, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 4 points. That's not good. Like DJ should have produced way more. He had that one really good game the last game, and then he's had kind of 2 stinkers before, and then this one just not a whole lot on it either. It's not that he wasn't trying. And he was active out there, and he was doing some good stuff. It's like he was being veteran in the way he played defense and the way he played with the team, and wasn't really causing too many problems, but he still didn't produce enough to me and stuff like that. But I think that DJ, just because of his offensive threat and the things, I love that he can shoot the 3. And I love that he has some really good offensive skills, that he should be on our team, that we needed better offensive players off our bench. And that this guy fits that mold, that he is a good offensive player, maybe more than a defensive player. And that we need that kind of look coming off the bench, especially one that's long in length and can do so much like him. So he's the kind of guy I'd much rather have on my team at this point than some of the other guys that are fighting for spots. And I know that he's in the same situation as them. Ron Harper Jr., his best summer league game so far, 6 of 12 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3-point range. He did miss one of his 2 free throws. I didn't like that. He had 2 offensive rebounds with 7 rebounds altogether, an assist, a steal, and a block, and 14 points. He was a +5. That is more of what I expect from Ron Harper more and more. He's kind of built up his game each summer league game. He's not too much in the first game at all. Second game, he showed some stuff. Third game, even more. And now the fourth game, he kind of came out and showed the kind of regular effort that he can do. He's a glue guy. He can do so many different things good, like little things that you don't really look at and see. And I'm really impressed with him. I just want him, more of his shots to go in. But, the fact that he took so many shots last night, he made half of them, 6 of 12 is really good. That he's a 50% shooter yesterday. And he varied it. He had a little bit of everything in the ways that he was scoring and stuff like that. I'm really big on this kid. I think that his defense is super underrated, that there's certain things that he does on the defensive end that some of these other guys that are in the positional battles for a spot on the roster don't do, that he is a really good defensive player. And that if you really watch him on the defensive end, you'll see what I'm talking about, whether it's like help defense or just being sound, like closing guys out. Guys would try and drive on him, and he'd keep with them, and he'd ride them out of their comfort spot, and they'd miss and stuff like that. That's the things that I'm talking about, the very advanced defensive kind of guarding guys. That he's not letting guys get by him when he's guarding them. He's forcing them to a sideline or something like that where they don't want to go. because he's keeping up with them and kind of like playing good D on them and stuff like that. So Kenny saying Koloko was in foul trouble. They had to sit him. They did, but they didn't. He wasn't actually in foul trouble. This was actually the first game where he didn't get a whole lot of fouls. He only had 2 fouls last night. It was probably just more a rest thing. That at some point they're like, he did look gassed and he does look like he gets tired. Like he's going to need a conditioning thing for the NBA grind. That this is going to be that may be one of the tough challenges for him is getting his body ready and being conditioned to play the NBA and 82 game schedule. That's part of the thing with Koloko because he did look gassed at different times last night where he looked a little tired and stuff like that. But they're really working him hard, stuff like that. Shane Waters, good morning. Yuta was great energy off the bench. He will be missed, but we got to make room for the new blood. Thanks, Yuta. Bam. Yeah, I mean, seriously, this is just how it is. It's like an NBA team goes with tries, different flavors, different people of team players on their team. And sometimes there's just enough time. That's your shot and that's your chance. And if it doesn't take, it just doesn't take. And Yuta had a really good career with us in some ways. Like he accomplished different things. Like he had some really astounding games. He had some really highlight dunks. He had some really highlight kind of plays and stuff like that. And of course, he'll be remembered for the Anthony Edwards crap for a long time, which is too bad because he doesn't totally deserve it. But yeah, it's gonna be I want to. This is the thing I want to see. Like in 5 or 10 years, I want to see you to come back to a Raptors game and be there and wave to the crowd and get his like ovation, something like that. I want that kind of stuff to happen if he doesn't come back to play just outright and stuff like that. Because I want him to come back and get that love from us, revisiting us as a legend, as a Raptor legend coming back and stuff like that. So, all right, let's go. Jeff Doughton, I already kind of looked at him. 16 points, super solid. He deserves a spot on our team. Delano, solid except for the turnovers. Kurats, all right, let's talk about him real quick. And I know people are just pissed off because the man is getting to play so much. The man is doing stuff. He's wearing this Phantom of the Opera mask, and like there's a weird vibe to him because of all the baggage from his legal stuff. And he's zero and he's wearing a mask. It's a very weird kind of look and motif. But this man was working hard. I'm not going to lie. This man is really good on defense, and he's something else on the offensive boards. Like, I really was impressed with him last night. 6 of 8, 4 offensive rebounds once again with 5 rebounds altogether, a 1 block, 13 points. He was a plus 13. Kurats is our highest plus minus. That he's really active, and there's certain things that he does that are really interesting and like could really help us on the main roster. But I'm not even going to talk about how he could be on our team or anything like that. I think that it's not going to happen, but he's definitely showing stuff that if there's other teams in the league that are interested in him, they may give him a shot. So, but I don't think it should be in Toronto. Even though he could honestly maybe help us in some ways. That offensive rebounding was super impressive. The way he was going after it last night. Top saying, good morning, everyone. Do you think Banton looked comfortable out there? I just thought the team was smoother when Doughton was running the team. Yeah. No, I think Delano looks real confident. In fact, he kind of calms everybody else down in certain ways. I know he's so wild the way he played last year, but he's reined it in a bit. I know the turnovers look bad and stuff like that. And Doughton definitely looks calm. And he's definitely got he's really a pro. This dude's a good one, man. I don't understand. We need this guy because he has the things that we need for our bench in spades, which is confidence, consistency, and just a scorer's nose and the ability to go and do the right decisions and tough decisions. Like he was faced with pass or shoot a lot again last night, and he was making the right decisions once again, whether he needed to pass it to somebody else or he needed to shoot it himself. He was making those right decisions and stuff. So G's saying Kurax is actually pretty good. And Tom Duke saying Kurax picking up opposing players and always in the right spot. Good sportsmanship and IQ. Yeah, I'm like wondering about Kurax. Like, I don't know. There's too many problems like trying to figure out who's going to be on our team and stuff like that. That I think there's kind of a nice non-starter. It's like everything that he gave in this is like what Chris Boucher will do for us on the regular roster. It's not that we need more offensive rebounding on the Raptors. And it's not that he's like the right size even for kind of our mold of our team. He's a little small for it and stuff like that. I don't know. The dude is getting a good audition, and maybe he'll find a spot somewhere else. But we don't want him on this team because there's a lot of the social justice warriors and people that are really, really zero tolerance for any kind of like problems with character. Don't want anything to do with him. In fact, they're pissed that they're even showing his highlights on the Raptors Twitter. They post this a dunk or something he does, and everybody's like, delete this. We don't want to see this. I'm like, he's a Raptor right now, and he's doing good things, and we don't know the details of this. Once again, I'm not an apologist for domestic violence or somebody who does stuff like this. But, we're too quick to cancel people without knowing all and every single detail. And that, listen, trust in Masai and Bobby, not just for their acumen with like how good players could be on the team, but also that they do their due diligence and they do research the situation and they do realize what's going on. And they may know way more than we do. And that we don't need to know everything about it because, once again, this is a private affair, a private thing that happened. And that hopefully the justice will be served. And that if he did do something really bad, and he probably did, that he just gets, the punishment for it or something like that. So I don't know. I'm like, cancel culture is important. And I think it is important to condemn people that are awful and do awful things. And canceling is not a bad thing to me. But sometimes I feel like we're overzealous and we're too quick to do it in situations where we may not have all the facts or all of the details that are important or pertinent to it. So I'll just say that about the whole situation. Now, if I don't want him on the team just because the baggage is a distraction, and it will cause things like when Terrence Davis was on the team, with part of the fan base just being like, I can't watch because this guy, did this to his girlfriend or something like that. So, top saying, why didn't Hawkins get more run? We need more shooting. I'm not sure about his D. Didn't see enough of him. He seems to have good size. Yeah. Well, listen, this is the thing. Tomorrow they're playing for third place. The game doesn't really matter. Let's see if they give a really long look to the guys that we didn't really see a whole lot of. That, in some ways, we haven't seen any Kajab. We haven't seen hardly any Jalen Sims and stuff like that. And it may be that they get a bigger chunk tomorrow. I think the game yesterday, they went with a really short 8-man rotation last night. And they were really trying probably to do what they were going to do and to get to the championship final. And that's why they made it so tight and didn't use other guys and stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like Ryan Hawkins has, done enough in that one game with that shooting performance to get some more look in summer league. And it is what they're going to do. It is what it is and stuff like that. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen him out there a bit last night, but maybe he gets a good run tomorrow against Milwaukee, 4 p.m., third place game for summer league. Yeah. All right, let me keep going. David Johnson was an absolute fail again last night. This is really bad. Like 0 for 4, 0 for 2 at 3-point range. He did have 5 rebounds and assist and a steal, but that is a goose egg. And in this situation that you're in, David Johnson is not good. And I feel bad for him. Like, it may be that he doesn't even get offered to come to training camp. Justin got that offer to come to training camp, but David Johnson has not yet. And this may be the end of the road, summer league. And that's it. That he may not be one of the 20 going into the season that's at training camp and trying to make the 17 spots. So, all right. Tom Duke's been excited to see Kajab. I am too. We saw him just for that little bit. All right. Armani Brooks was a tale of two halves. Really, really amazing in the first half. So badass in the first half. He was back with his laser. He was mixing it up with driving to the lane and making some really nice layups in traffic. Armani was a badass, but we needed him to do that in the second half also. He made his 3 threes all in the first half and looked real good. Sam Mitchell was all about it. But then he missed 9 threes for the rest of the game. Like, he was 3 of 12 from 3-point range, and that's horrible. He needed to make some of those threes in the second half and keep that margin wide. In fact, in some ways, I kind of blame Armani for us not getting to the championship. is that he was the dude who was on fire. Maybe they needed to go to him more. He needed to show up in the second half, and he did it. He had such a good first half. 17 points in the whole game, but like 15 of them were in the first half. That he only scored 2 points in the second half, and we needed him to continue to carry water, and he did not do that. So in some ways, it's a big thing that he did. He played really well, but in some ways, also no, he did not play well because he disappeared in the second half. 7 of 16 for the night, 3 of 12 from 3-point range. Missed the only free throw he got. 2 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, 2 blocks. I don't know how that man got 2 blocks and 17 points. Not a bad game, but he should have scored way more the way he scored so much in the first half. That's like 15 points in the first half, 2 points in the second half. That's not good. That is not good. All right, let's see. Top saying, love Koloko, but do you think we still pursue Pirtle or any pieces from Utah? I still think we could be a bit stronger in terms of scoring. We struggled to score in half court last year. Oh, I think that the thing with Koloko is that he'll be used on the main roster, kind of like maybe how Delano was used last year. Like he may come in and play like most games, but it may be that he only plays like 5 to 15 minutes a game. Never plays like over 20 minutes. Never plays like super long. And he's getting like a lot of game time on the 905. Now, as far as our center position this year, we're already ahead with it because Koloko just even being there as another look coming off the bench is going to really help us. But it should be more the same from last year, that in some ways our center position was really held more capably than the Tampa year for sure. That Kem Birch, that battalion of Kem Birch, Precious Achua, Chris Boucher, Thad Young, and those guys all being kind of big and around the same size really do, like, it's if you have 2 or 3 of them out on the court at the same time, it kind of adds up to a real center in some ways and stuff like that. Like if you have Boucher, Birch, and Achua out there all at the same time, you kind of have enough beef out there that it's kind of like you have defensive center kind of size out there, even though there's none of them are really a true center in some ways. That I'd love to get Pirtle just to have him as on the team, personality wise and camaraderie wise and skill wise, but he isn't necessary at this point. It's kind of like we get richer in an area that we're already pretty rich in. So I think our center position will be fine, even if Koloko doesn't play like a huge amount of minutes in the rotation. That we'll just continue to do what we did last year. On the down low, our starting center is Scotty Barnes, and that he is kind of a part of that center position for us also. As weird as it, point guard and also a center on our team in different ends of the court, in different ways and stuff like that. So the half court scoring this year should get way better with people like Otto Porter Jr. being around. We have more capable shooters and things like that. So our half court should be a lot more efficient. And also, we're going to be better in half court this season because of accrued time together. That synergy chemistry factor of time together will make it easier for us to run our half court offense a little bit more sound. That last year we were really transition. We looked real good, getting points off turnovers and fast break and things like that. Those were easy baskets. But when we get in the half court offense, we struggle a bit to try and get open shots or something like that. Well, we're going to be better at that this year, just because the guys are more familiar with each other, and maybe they'll play off each other more this year than they did last year. I found that they were doing too much isolation, trying to beat guys one-on-one. If they actually would play off each other this year more, our offense in the half court will look way, way, way smoother. And that's the thing that I think will be the big difference, is not only we'll have more floor spacers with great shooters like Otto Porter Jr. Joining our team, but also the accrued time together and understanding each other's places and spots where they like to get the ball, and also playing off each other just more in general, getting more assists this season. That'll all help our half court in different ways. G saying, you can tell when Brooks is overthinking it and forcing it. In the first half, he was amazing. Like, I really love that little between the legs dribble crossover that gets him room off a defender when he's at the 3-point line, because he has that really down in rhythm. Like, you can tell he's a rhythm shooter, that if he gets a couple dribbles on the floor into his shot, he's going to make the shot because it's all rhythm predicated. That if he gets a rhythm with the dribble and then he does that little move, shakes his guy off, and he goes right up, he'll hit that. that it looked really good at the beginning in the first half. I loved seeing that, like, because that's a one-on-one move that is really solid and good to have. Like Fred can do it sometimes, but the way Armani shook that dude off and like bombed, not even close to the 3-point line, that was really impressive. That's a really good offensive skill for him to have. So it's a mixed bag with him. In some ways, I really like what Armani's done in summer league, but also he's disappeared too much also at different times, and I don't like that. Top of top saying Downton, Wilson, and Banton impressed me the most in that order. Banton would be higher, but for all of his turnovers, yeah. And Brooks was way too inconsistent. Agreed. Not sure if he should make the cut. All right, let's start with the first up. Downton, Wilson, and Banton impressed him the most in that order. Downton has super been impressive, super consistent. Wilson has been up and down, but that last game he played was super impressive before this game. And Banton, yeah, we talked about like the different good things he's done and some of the things he could clean up. But yeah, Brooks, I wish he was more consistent. And this is something we just were striving for. We can't have inconsistent bench players. We need good given guys that if we give them minutes off the bench, they're going to come out and produce. And it doesn't always have to be scoring. That's the thing. If they're able to produce like by playing really good defense, or they're getting a lot of rebounds, or they're setting other guys up to score, that's all real good too. So it's kind of like this thing where how Jeff Doughton is really good at funneling the water to either him scoring himself because he needs to, or funneling the water towards him scoring and helping other guys score. That he's done that way more successfully than anybody on this team in summer league. It's like diverting the water the right way between them. And where Armani and Armani, I won't say anybody else. The problem with Armani is that he is not really kind of playing like a point guard, that he's playing like a shooting guard. And that if he's not hitting his shot, I want him to be able to make plays for other guys to set them up and make points themselves. And he's not doing that. Like in the second half, when he's not hitting his shot, he should be playing more like a point guard and trying to distribute and set guys up for really easy baskets. And that's the important thing as far as like the difference between a Jeff Doughton and an Armani Brooks. Is that Armani Brooks is a small shooting guard in some ways. He's not actually a point guard. And Jeff Doughton's actually a long point guard. And that, to me, is way more attractive for a roster build than a small shooting guard who's an undersized shooting guard. And that may be in some ways part of the reason why Armani Brooks is on the bubble in the NBA, is that he's a position that technically is not really good to have on your team in some ways. That he's a point guard size, but he really is a shooting guard kind of player and stuff like that. So G saying, I like Brooks. Think once he settles down mentally and doesn't force it and passes out, if they put pressure on him, he will be a good bench piece. If he ends up on the team, I won't be disappointed because I know that he's good for certain skills and certain things that he can help us with. So I'm not down on him, but I am way up on Downton. And that if I had to choose between one of those two guys, I would pick Jeff Doughton Jr., just because it's just a no-brainer at this point. Guardian saying, I agree. Hawkins needs a chance. He needs a chance, and it may be tomorrow. It may be tomorrow against Milwaukee Bucks. Do we care about getting third place in Summer League? I don't know. So why not? Play all the end of the bench guys that didn't get to play too much. This whole thing, like Monique's talked about it on her wrap-up for last night about the Summer League game, about the Summer League rings and getting a championship in Summer League, and how kind of stupid it is really kind of stupid in some ways. Like Monique's suggestion is that they need to play more games in Summer League and have more of a record. And to me, that kind of is right in the right direction. I just think it's kind of asinine and stupid to give rings to people where it's like, listen, the Summer League situation is different for every single team. Some of these teams, like the Miami Heat, showed up with nobody they really like is invested in heavily for their main roster. None of these guys are that important to their long-term scheme of things. Whereas other teams in Summer League come in with Chet Holmgren and really important blue chip picks that they just made, and they may be overplaying them. And then other thing is they may not play certain guys certain games. Other teams may not be caring about whether they win in Summer League or not, that they just are really solely looking at their guys and trying to figure out if they want them or develop them and stuff like that. And that it's no rhyme or reason to the competitive level of the Summer League and the motives of what the teams are doing with their Summer League rosters and whether they're trying to win or not. So why the fuck would you give them rings and do this kind of shit? It's stupid. It's dumb. And like, even the team that's going to win tomorrow out of Portland and New York, who did they play and who did they beat? And how does this all work out? I just think it's really stupid. Go ahead and give a summer league cup. I think that they would be smarter if they treated the summer league like maybe had an all summer league team. Like they picked 3 teams like the all NBA team and said, these are the 15 players in the summer league that we feel like were the best players. The all summer league team, first team, all summer league team, second team, all summer league team, third team. And that would be more representative of giving accolades or kudos to players in the summer league for what matters, because the team play doesn't really matter. Why the fuck do they need to give them a cup or any kind of rings? It's stupid. Honestly, it's stupid. These rings won't matter anything. Like, you give them this little trinket and people are going to laugh at them. Oh, you won summer league in 2022. Who cares? It's stupid. So, I don't agree with this ring thing. It's fine to give them a cup and a little trophy, but they shouldn't all get rings. And like, summer league's stupid. Like, what does it really prove? Like, it's not proving anything as far as like if they all played each other and they all got a chance to play each other and then really prove that this is the best team. Because I don't believe that the team that wins tomorrow is going to be necessarily the best team in the summer league, because there's no way of really knowing that, because none of them have played each other. And then there's variances in different games with, all right, Chet played the first 2 games of summer league, but then he didn't play any more games and stuff like that. There's just too much variance of the reason why the outcomes happen the way they do for any of this to matter to this has any gravity or any kind of, wow, that's impressive that you won summer league and you got rings. Because it's like, why? What's the point? Anyway, that's my little rant on that. It's silly. I think that if they did expand, there were more games like Monique is suggesting, then maybe this could be a little bit more realistic to me that it matters. But I like the all summer league team idea better. Like, say, okay, this is our first team, all summer league team. And then you name the 5 best players that played in the summer league. And then you do it for the second team and the third team. And that may have some prestige in it itself, because these guys on the all summer league team could be like precursors or kind of like a foreboding of who may be rookie of the year candidates for the year coming up. That's what I'm saying. That's more interesting and maybe a more makes sense award for summer league, is that kind of accolade and stuff like that. So let's see. All right, you guys have written in some more. Let me see. Do we finish in the top 4 in the East this year? This is top of top. Yes. Yes, we do, top of top. Do not fall for the U.S. sports media bias that just ignores us, that doesn't put us in the same conversation as Milwaukee, Boston, Miami, that we are in that top 4 with those guys. They're going to try and sandwich in Philadelphia in there. They're going to try and put Cleveland up in there before us. They're going to try and put Brooklyn in there, even though they're a dumpster fire of dysfunction. That we are honestly a top 4 team in the East. It's just that they want to say this Philadelphia, even though they probably isn't. And they're going to try and anoint Cleveland ahead of us. They may even try and do something crazy with Atlanta because they got DeJounte all of a sudden next to Trae Young. No, don't fall for the hype. Don't believe it. The Raptors are a top 4 NBA Eastern Conference team, and they're going to prove it to everybody this season. In fact, we may be number 1, baby. So just believe and watch the development and the fun that we get in year 2 of Big Roy, number 4, Scotty Barnes. Because listen, this is the thing. He's got his orientation to the NBA. He understands the grind. He understands it's a little bit more not foreign to him. He's going to be different this year, you guys. Trust me. Last year was the little sampler platter. We're going to get the whole course this season coming up from Scotty Barnes. And it's going to be something that you guys may be shocked about. Like, some people are, some of these groups that I'm on Facebook for Raptors, they've been ranking who they think are going to have the most impact as a Raptor on the team. And a lot of them are putting Pascal. And that's who they should put, probably, because he will have the most impact on the team in some ways. But I put Scotty Barnes at number 1. And the reason why I put Scotty first and then Pascal second is because the intangibles, the team chemistry, the leadership, all the different things that he brings is going to be even more out there, because he's going to be more confident. He's going to have more of his feet under him. He's going to understand the game in the NBA a lot better. And you guys are going to be blown away by seeing the leap that Scotty's going to make this year. That this isn't going to be like this is going to be different. Like, y'all are going to see something totally different about Scotty this year. And you're going to be like, holy crap, he's way better than he was last year. And he was really good last year. That's what I'm saying. Be ready for this. So, and he's a big part of why we're going to be even better than last year, is just his growth and development himself as an individual is going to, he's going to add 5 more wins to our win total this year, just himself, by himself. Watch. That's how if they do stats and they can figure that all out, they're going to see his win share. He's going to have a higher win share this year. Watch. I'm gonna put money down on that right now. I bet on all this and stuff like that. So we're top 4, maybe even number 1, baby. If we stay healthy and we get that synergy going, and look out, we're gonna sneak up on people. G saying, yes, Downton has been the best player on the team. I really believe this. The most consistent, every single game, solid, double digits. Not a lot of turnovers, really good like awareness on the court and good decisions in situations that are high pressure, that kind of stuff. I love to see it. I love to see it so much. Tom Duke saying Downton over the rest, over Banton and Brooks. I wouldn't say Downton over Delano, but I would say him over Brooks. Yeah. Yeah. Delano's a little bit different. Like, he's invested. In some ways, he's a premium because he's Toronto, man. And like, we love this in-house Toronto thing. Like, it makes me so proud that, they keep saying he's the first Canadian player drafted by the Raptors. Forget that. He's the first Torontonian drafted by the Raptors. That, listen, that's important in itself, that he's not just from Canada, he's from the city that he plays for and he puts that jersey on for. And that is a huge value to me, because in some ways he teaches every single little kid in Rexdale, in Scarborough, and Markham, and every little borough around Toronto and downtown, that they have a chance to make that path and get there. And that Delano Banton is a living embodiment of it. And that's so awesome and amazing. I put value in that myself, just that intangible of that. So, yeah, Downton not over Delano, but over Brooks, sure. Yeah, and over Malachi. Yeah, over Malachi. G saying, I think so. Very consistent, knows when to shoot versus pass, good under high pressure, steady. Very steady, just very steady and very astute, very smart. He plays like a vet. He doesn't play like a young player that's shakeable. Like, he's unshakable. That's what I see in Jeff Downton Jr. And he looks like he has a great personality. Like, he looks like a great teammate. He looks like he's very communicative on the court and very like dialed in with everybody else. And that's part of his keys to his success. Top of Top saying, does Gary Trent make it to the end of the season, or do we flip him at the trade deadline? His contract could allow him to walk eventually. I don't know. That seems like that's something we need to revisit as in the season, as things go and stuff like that. We have to see what happens. We have to see if like what's happening with him. There's something that I'm thinking about doing, is like putting together my roster breakdown for the team on a Sunday report. I think I'm going to do this not tomorrow, but maybe in the next week or so, where I'm going to look at the guys and how I see the rotation possibly shaping up as far as starting lineup, who's going to be off the bench, and where I see them in the hierarchy of going into training camp. And that's with everybody that's involved right now. And at the top too. And one of the things that I'm thinking about doing is switching Gary out of the starting lineup and putting him off the bench as the 6-man and him getting 6-man minutes. But that's a tough thing to do with Gary and his issues with being jerked around, coming off the bench and starting different times for Portland. That's one of the things he didn't like. It was inconsistent. He'd come in one day, he'd be starting, one day he wouldn't be. We don't want to do that too much to Gary, because he is very happy when he's consistently starting, obviously. But if we're able to come to him at the beginning of the year and tell him about the role we want him to play for the team and say, look, you could be a 6-man of the year candidate and you will get a lot of your minutes and you will get to play at the end of games. It's just that we may want you to come off the bench this year. And in that case, I was thinking Scotty Barnes would start at point guard, Fred would be the shooting guard, OG small forward, Pascal at power forward, and Precious would start at center. That is I will get more into detail. I've already been kind of trying to figure this out in my head and making a depth chart for the Raptors this season. And that was one of the looks I was looking at that's very intriguing, because you got Fred out there and he's not running the point. He's playing shooting guard in the shooting guard position. So Isaac Campbell's here. Steady Freddy Part 2. You can always go Downton if we sign him. You can always go Downton. That's what you were doing. I know that's what you're talking about, Isaac. That old song. Dun, dun. And Monique is here. Yuta forever is what Monique is saying. Monique, thanks for the great write up after the game last night. I really enjoyed your opinions about the summer league rings and like how silly it is to give these rings that they should be playing more games if they're going to do this and have it more really pronounced that this is the summer league champion. Because I don't believe that the team that's going to play in the summer league championship tomorrow is probably the best summer league team out of all of them. We can't find out that for sure between New York and Portland, but at least we're playing for third with Milwaukee. Milwaukee versus Toronto, 4 p.m. tomorrow, the last game of summer league. We do get one more game, y'all. So tune in tomorrow, 4 p.m. All right, I'm just looking at the box score one more time real quick. The Raptors overall as a team, they shot better than Miami. We got more shots. That was good. We outshot them at 3-point range. We didn't do as good as them on the free throw line. They got more free throws and they made more free throws. They out rebounded us. The assists were even. We had better hustle stats with 11 steals. That's amazing. 8 blocks. They had more turnovers, which was important in this game. The turnovers were a lot. There were a lot of turnovers for both teams, and we had just a few less than them, and that was important and stuff like that. So a win that was a loss? That sucks. When does that ever happen? It's like, and like that Jared Greenberg guy said, it's like, this has never happened in the history of the NBA where both teams lose. And well, it was kind of like that because we didn't score enough points to get to the championship match. I hated that. And the glee that announcer took in us failing to do that was too much. And you're annoying, Jared Greenberg. So Lolita's saying, I will miss Yuta's energy. Good luck, Yuta. Yes, good luck to Yuta. We love you, Yuta Watanabe. You will always have a great city that loves you. Toronto will always love you. People in Canada will always love you. You will go places and Canadian people will see you and they will shower love on you because you are a Raptor legend. Yuta Watanabe, you will always be popular and loved by Raptors Nation. No matter what, you are in there, buddy. Monique saying, never dig yourself a hole you can't get out of. Yeah, like I don't even think that hole was. Listen, we were doing good with that maple syrup layer of 20-point lead. You know, you look at the game chart on ESPN from the box score, and the lines were nice and wide in the middle. And then they came back together near the end when Miami really tried to mess up our chances. They wanted to play spoiler, and they did. And I feel like we could have done better in the second half protecting the rim in some areas. And that was when Koloko wasn't in the game. Like, it's really different. Like, the game is different when Koloko's out there and Koloko isn't out there. And when he's out there, we are really good defensively. And when he's not out there in Summer League, we're not. We're not a good defensive team. It's that simple. It's like Koloko's out there, good defense, stopping people near the basket, no layups, no nothing near the basket. But when he's on the bench, the team's going inside and scoring on us easy. And that may have been the big difference to me, that we needed Koloko more and near the end of the game because we had a lead and we were playing from a defensive standpoint at that point in some ways, that we needed to limit their scoring, and that may have been an error by Trevor Gleason and not heavily making his minutes more heavy in the end of the game. But it may be because he was getting tired and he needed the rest more near the end of the game and stuff like that. But it is what it is. All right. Just a recap of the game from last night. Good job, Raptors, winning. Too bad we didn't get to the championship game, but it is what it is. So what? It doesn't even matter. It's Summer League. Who cares? But anyway, I appreciate y'all for joining me this morning for Saturday Share the Love Club. Yuta Watanabe, always will love you, man. You are the best, Yuta. Your smile and just who you are and what you represent and just being such a good dude. We will always love and respect you here in Toronto. All right. And y'all, tomorrow we'll do I guess we'll do kind of a preview or like a recap of Summer League overall in some ways and set up the game for the Milwaukee Bucks at 4 p.m. Sunday afternoon, the third place game for Summer League this summer. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Hit that red subscribe button if you haven't hit it already. I really need the subscriptions, and I appreciate you if you do. All right. Have a great day, great Saturday. Get out there and touch grass as Scotty Barnes would tell you, go out there and get in the grass, roll around in it like a dog would. Maybe just feel the dandelions and the all the different stuff around there. Just get one with nature is what I want y'all to do today. So get out there and do it. Have a great day, and let's go Raptors. We are gotten one more summer league game tomorrow, so don't cut it off yet. We got to watch them play one more game, and maybe Ryan Hawkins will get some run this time. We want to see Ryan Hawkins. Get him out there, Trevor Gleason. We need to see Ryan Hawkins on the court. We want to see his shooting.